It's almost like watching a video game.
Yeah, that was the idea actually. Was the ratio keeps changing. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that in Brian Lee O'Malley's artwork, he uses a lot of negative space, and sometimes there'll be like a panel in blackness. And in other cases, what I thought was interesting is a lot of video games, when they have their cutscenes at the start, they try and make them look more like movies by adding like widescreen black bars at the top and bottom. And so I thought that would be funny to do that within a movie. Try and make a film look even more like a film. So even the first shot of the movie has like very widescreen. So it was.
I love that first shot. That's really great.
That's partly actually the first double-page spread in the book has black at the top and bottom. So I thought that was, and it was something actually. My previous two films were shot in 235, but this was shot as 185 because there's a lot of graphics, and like doing graphics for 235 is almost too much fit on screen. So because it was such a visually intense film, it felt like that it was right to do it in 185, and because of that, then we did lots of ratio changes, and we we used all sorts of different formats as well.
Yeah, I mean, which is basically the way that you're saying when a frame comment. I mean, he does that with these small boxes. It's just really very kind of manga-like.
Yeah. What else? I mean, the other thing that we did. Yeah.
We filmed the reality sections in spherical life. Anytime the magic of reality, we try to go into the film version of that magic of reality, which to us was kind of more action movies that we filmed. So we changed the anamorphic lenses and lens flares and all that for motion pictures. We just started filming it up.
It's funny you say magic realism because after like the first 5 minutes, I'm not sure if he's actually awake or not, because he's going from one reality to another, and more so than in the comic, it really feels like he's dreaming the entire thing.
That was kind of the idea. I mean, in the first book, there's a lot of that where it sort of floats pretty kind of seamlessly between dream and reality, and.
But you're aware of it, much more than you are here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to kind of it to be like. And this might sound like a sort of quite a highbrow reference, but it's something like discrete charm of the bourgeoisie, like where it's not really clear. It's not really clear when you're in and out of the dream sequence, and especially the scene where he walks into the bathroom and comes out to the school corridor. The idea was because the whole film sort of takes place in this level of reality, which is where a universe where seemingly anything can happen. And you've got a character, your lead character is Scott Pilgrim in the books, and maybe even more so in the film, is sort of living his life in this solipsistic bubble where, Brian Lee O'Malley had this great quote about Scott Pilgrim, which we really took to heart, was he said, Scott Pilgrim is like the hero of the movie inside his own head. And I feel like the whole film is basically like Scott Pilgrim's perfect world version of events. So, because, in reality, he probably can't kick somebody's ass. So, I mean, the whole thing, is kind of like a big wish fulfillment fantasy about kind of, one of the inspirations for Brian that I thought was so funny is, it's this theory that, people who play kind of driving games and flight simulators might be able to fly a plane or drive a car. But nobody has ever played Mortal Kombat and gone out to the street and beat somebody else.
That's one of the funny things about movies that play with that. So that's a frame of device you did that's not in the comics. We did get to see Scott playing this video game with knives, and then applying all that stuff throughout the film.
Yeah, that was something that that was in the script, and a major studio let us make a film, but and they were definitely behind it, but you would early on have to kind of go through the same kind of notes process that any film would have. And one of the big kind of things that gets thrown in a film like this is, well, what are the rules and how does he fight? Can we show him training? And that was never a big part of the books, and never something I really wanted to get into. So actually showing kind of Knives and Scott playing this Dance Dance Revolution style game was a little nod to seeing him having some kind of like prowess.
And also not being able to defeat the last level.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to kind of put those things in there. And that's the first time I've ever done like a fictional game within something, like in Space and Sean and Hot Fuzz, you know, we'd always do real video games, but we had to kind of create Ninja Revolution. But I think it was great